Hello and welcome back to the Doctor's Garage. So in this video today, I've got a very exciting day planned. I'm going to be wrapping my whole headliner in my Defender 90, getting the front to match the rear and also putting some interesting electronics in my car at the same time. So let's jump inside and get that sorted. Starting off in the car by taking down all the headliner, taking out all the fur clips, I think they're called, fur stud things, using one of these, which is a great bit of kit just off eBay, trim removal tool, taking down all those, the light will come down with it, and as you can see above it, it's pretty horrible. I need to finally get all this sorted, do the roof on this, get some sound deadening on it. I'm going to cover this headliner, cover the rear LaSalle one that I didn't put up that long ago, and just get it all one piece and finally get this interior sorted. So that is the front headliner pretty much coming out. As you can see, it's pretty disgusting overall. I did clean this originally when I first got the car, but you can see it's just not looking that great anymore. And I'm going to take all this off and recover it with, actually it looks quite similar to what I've got, the suede trim, this foam backed sort of fake Alcantara, and that's what I'm going to be doing this back in. That's for the light fitting just there, and you can see all the old fern clips. I'm going to have to get some new ones of these because most of these are snapped off when I took it off. And you can see now in the car as well what it looks like. There was originally a light on this car and it had those holes in the roof which have been repaired, but all that needs doing as well with sound deadening, to be honest, just to stop it being so rattly. So going to be doing that as well. Now next, going to take this LaSalle rear headliner out, which I know you guys here on the channel have seen me fit, but taking it off because I just want to get everything looking continuous in this car now from a headliner point of view. And that is the LaSalle GRP headliners down as well. I did this job on the channel before, as you can see. I have actually done a pretty reasonable job for me, at least, on the roof here. This is the old headliner. As I can see, this isn't going to be a very fun or a very easy job, taking this foam backing off the original headliner. But I think I'm going to have to do that in order to be able to properly wrap it new again. So I've got my headliner here, and what I'm doing is this is the suede trim fabric I've got, so it's like foam backed. And it actually feels really similar to like Alcantara. It's pretty nice. I'm going to try and fit this in here and work out how I'm going to get up that side bit there now. So I sprayed the first bit on. This is now stuck pretty well. And it's actually moulded really easily into those corners where the fabric is. I'm starting at this corner because it's easiest, and I'll work my way through here into that curve and see how that goes as we go. But it does genuinely feel like an Alcantara, and it's fitted and stretched really well into those areas. You can probably see where it's kind of molded already just with a bit of glue, and I'm using this trim bond adhesive at the moment, which seems to be working pretty good. So I sprayed that on and just slowly working this Alcantara back into this area now, just rubbing it slowly under here, trying to get it all to stick down. So glued up all that now with the trim fits adhesive. I'm leaving that corner because I'm not sure how I'm going to deal with that, but I'm going to cut that at the end. And now I'm going to stick this flap down and see how that looks. So stuck down all the headliner now. You can see the insert looks really good, feels good. Got that corner now to deal with, and how I'm going to cut that in to kind of bend the fabric right and get it sorted. But actually quite a simple job really to retrim that headliner. So it's coming on really well, got that curve sorted out. I'm quite pleased with how that's turning out, so just finishing this side up. And that is that piece done. Now I've left a few bits a bit longer, like here and on some of the edges. I'm going to see if I can cut them off, or if I need to cut them off, I can just tuck them in maybe when I'm actually putting the headliner back up. So just so you can see the difference between the old and the new, you can see how much different that looks, but also just feels a lot more rattly, and I think it'll actually sound a lot better being on the roof too. So it's almost like a bit of sound deadening having that suede trim on there. So going to do the next one now, get it sorted. But yeah, looking good overall. So the next piece is on, just getting that cut to size. I really like this stuff, it's really light, and as you can see, just got that foam backing to it. Feels quite like the factory one actually on my other bit of headliner. And that piece of headliner is going to be way harder than these. We're going to get this one done now. And that is both of my headliners wrapped. That's just a bit of foam overlay, but yeah, no, all come together quite well. And now I'm going to try and do the front one and see how I go with that. So this is the original Land Rover headliner. As you can see, the problem with it is it's good shape, but it's quite flexible compared to that GRP one. So no wonder these sag quite a lot over time. I'm hoping that when I put the new stuff on, I might want to stiffen it up a bit. I'm going to think of a way to do that, but yeah, no, it looks good. fact end up final coating the whole of this roof just to make it a bit better, just make it a bit more sound insulated. Definitely sounds a lot better. So just starting to put the headliner in. It's going really well actually. I've got these tiny little holes that I've made previously, which actually are better than fur clips I find, just screwed into the metal beams. Little self-tapping screws, and actually it's held in really well, so it's coming together really well on that side. So it's a new day now, and you can see the rears are refitted. Look really good in this suede trim. I'm really impressed with how much like Alcantara this looks like, to be honest. And I put these little screw studs in here, self-tapping screws, because the fur clips in the back don't really work, so I've just screwed them into these little points here. I might coat them black eventually, but I'm really happy with that. And it sounds quite hollow, but I know beneath that is all that silent coat. It's really made a difference having that 4mm, so the extra thick silent coat on the roof. Just taken for a drive, massive difference. So now working on going to do the front. The problem with these old headliners, as good as they are, is they sag in the middle. So this middle part ends up sagging. So as good as that looks, when I know when it goes up, it's going to be sagging in the middle. And that's just because it's the old sort of material that's 15 years old. I recently read a tip in, I think it was Land Rover Owners magazine, to paint the back of this headliner with diluted wood glue, and that just gives it a bit of stiffness and just firms it up. So that's what I'm going to be doing right now. As the wood glue kind of smeared on, I put some diluted stuff on. I also put something a bit thicker on too, just to help stiffen it up. I'm going to leave it standing like that so it's nice and straight, and let's see how that works, whether it does stiffen it well enough to go on the roof. Also, while I remember, I'm using this really cool bit of kit. It's a light, and I got it recently. After I was at Live Tuning, the guys had these when they were working on other cars, and I found it so useful to have in my own toolbox. So I bought one. It's from Sealy. I'll put the link in the description below of where you can get exactly the same one from. And the reason I chose this one is it's an LED light bar. It's USB rechargeable, got the USB port there. You can do one mode, which is the end, so just the tip. And the great thing with this is it can magnetize and everything, so you can have it stuck on something and then move it down to the angle where you need it, like that, for example, when you're working on your car, or stick it like on the side like that. Then you've got the second mode, which is the light bar, and again you can go even brighter, and again you can have that so shining up. So when I'm working on this headliner, for example, I can stick it right up on here, have a look at the headliner as I'm working on it, which is really cool. And then you've also got another mode on it, which is the final one on the back there, which is really bright actually. And this lasts about, I think, 3 hours on the different modes. It's USB rechargeable, magnetic, really handy, and it's actually tiny, this one, so it just folds up and goes into nothing. Really cool bit of kit if you're working on your car. Find it easier bringing it through the back of the car through a rear door. Then what you need to do is remove the rubber seals, and you can get right up to where that fixes onto. And I'm going to be putting it up. Got a few bits of kit, these clamps, these great useful bits of kit as well, these clamps that I'm going to put on to hold it in place while I get things sorted. With these Defender interior lights, you'll always find they're not very bright because of that single filament bulb. I've managed to find online an LED replacement, so exactly the same size, but it's just got 3 LEDs in it, so it's apparently a lot brighter, so we'll see what that's like. But again, if you want one of these, link is in the description below. The only problem you'll see with these is because they only have lights on one side rather than the bulb the whole way around, it does like to spin around in this little capsule. So I've put a little bit of tape on the back just to hold it in, so that just keeps it looking straight. So we are getting there with the headliner. You can see it's all tucked in at the front there. There's actually 2 fixings on the car at the moment holding the roof liner in, and they are in the form of little screws with washers I've put in here, and also one on the other side that you can see just there. I didn't use the fur clips that were on the original headliner. I've actually screwed it straight into the little bit of metal bodywork. I just think it gives a bit of a better finish, and you don't need as many to hold it up, and they just hold a lot nicer, a lot better. So I'm going to put the rear view on now, and that should hold that part in, and yeah, we can go from there. That's the new LED light, looking very bright, which is good. Good to see that it all works still. And I've got the other cables for the other part of my wiring job just there. And that is the front headliner all put in now, and we've also got the rear headliner now. You can see this is where the join is in the 2 headliners. I'm really pleased with how that's turned out. Made a huge difference to how it looks, but also how it sounds in the back of here. It just sounds a lot more deadened now. I've actually insulated above these boards. So I'm really pleased with how the whole job's gone overall. In the next video, I'm going to be talking about that rear view mirror. I've got all the wiring done now, so I'm going to be talking about how I'm going to connect that up and what that looks like with that camera out of my rear view mirror. I hope that video has been interesting and hopefully inspired some of you to do the same. All the things I've used in this video you can see in the description below, the suede trim, all the gear that I use basically to do the fitting. If you haven't already, subscribe to our channel, give this video a like, and let me know what you think in the comments below, and check out all of my other videos on my Defender 90 here on YouTube.